Hi, it's Tiffany. Thanks so much for being part of the Summer 2014 Get Organized Challenge. We broadcast the first challenge live yesterday and we had a few technical difficulties. So I apologize for the weirdness of this video and this little introduction. But without further ado, here I am talking live yesterday about Get Organized Challenge number 1. Get ready to get organized and setting yourself up for success. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to do to be successful. All right, so the very first thing that you're going to do to be successful is set yourself up for success. And that means you have to come up with a good reason why this is going to be beneficial to you. So if you're like most scrapbookers, you've rearranged your room multiple times, you've reorganized your supplies multiple times, right? So there's two things that are going on there. One of them is that you need a good system, and the other one is that you need a good goal to follow up on. And we're going to call that your big benefit, right? So the big benefit is why you're doing this. Why are you cleaning your room? Why are you tidying up all your things? And it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, right? So can they see or just hear? Oh, okay, good. So it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. Glad you guys are all back with me. I hate talking to a camera when nothing's going on. So you're going to come up with your big benefit, right? For some of you, it's going to be, it'll be fun to craft again. For some of you, it'll be, I'll stop wasting money on craft supplies and actually get some crafting done. Some of you really love to have your friends over to craft with you, but your room or your space is such a mess that you can't even have friends over. So whatever the big benefit is, you need to establish that first. That's really going to help. And then you're going to make a big benefits board. And so this is my big benefits board from the very first challenge. And so my big benefit was to be able to find my stuff so that I could enjoy crafting again, right? And then you'll see there's 8 little cards on the side. So there's one for each of the 8 challenges that we're going to do, and these are your rewards. So this is your reward board. So that's another key to being successful, is getting some other kind of benefit along the way. So each one of these little things is some sort of reward for me completing the challenge for that week. All right? So you are going to decide on your big benefit. You're going to establish it as a goal. You're going to write that goal down. You are going to hang it up. So you don't have to do anything fancy like this, right? So obviously this is kind of cool because then I could put it into a scrapbook with my before and after pictures and it'd be all ready to go. But even if all you do for your big benefits board is write, this is my big benefit on a piece of notebook paper, write it down and hang it up on the bulletin board in your room or space, that's all that matters, because a goal, some of you have heard me say this before, goals that aren't put to paper are intentions that are seeds without soil. So there's no way for your goal to grow and flourish and become a real thing unless you write it down and then you can look at it. So that's one of the steps for success. Another thing that can help you be successful is to recruit a friend, right? It's always easier when you have somebody to work with. Many hands make light work. So recruiting a friend will help you. And then do what we call going public, and that means telling anybody that will listen what you're doing, because the more people you tell, the more people are going to ask you about it and the more accountable you're going to be to your goal. And then you also need to get the buy-in from anybody that's going to distract you, right? So Deanna was just telling me that her son wants to have the room that she's using as a craft room, and she's going to move to another room of the house. So he's really motivated to help her and to get that crafting stuff all organized so that she can condense it down and move to another space and he can have this bigger room. So whatever the buy-in might be, for me, my kids seem to never want to talk to me until I'm doing something totally for myself, right? And then I'm like the most important person in the world, and they are in my ear constantly. So on a couple of my rewards here, I got the buy-in from the kids. So my older son, London, loves to play cribbage and go for coffee. So my first reward was take London out for coffee and cribbage. So now London was motivated for me to get that done. My second reward was play ping pong and pizza with Max, so 2 of his favorite things. Now Max was motivated for me to get that done, so they kept each other busy, right, while I was trying to get things done. So use your rewards that are something that you are going to enjoy, but you might also be able to incorporate the buy-in from the other people in your family into that as well. Now, your rewards can be little tiny things. For some people, a great reward is a 15-minute walk all by themselves, or a 15-minute walk with their kid or whatever it is. For some people, a reward is, you know, a $100 shopping spree at Michael's. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It can be a foot massage. It can be anything. And it doesn't have to be crafting related, right? Keep that in mind. So make it simple. You can make it fun. One of the gals in a previous challenge wrote down all her rewards on these little cards, and she put 8 little envelopes on her page, and then she gave the cards to a girlfriend who scrambled them up, put them in the envelopes, and sealed them. So she didn't know what she was going to get each week. She knew it was going to be something good, but she didn't know exactly what it was. So that was really fun as well. So make it fun. Again, if it's fun and it's easy, you're going to do it. So don't get too complicated with anything. All right, and then defining your big benefits. So those are all the things that you're going to do to set yourself up for success. So the name of this challenge is Get Ready to Get Organized. And so basically what we're going to do this week is lay the groundwork for you to get organized. Now, besides having goals, the next thing that you're going to want to do is understand a good organization system. And that is essentially why most organizing attempts fail, because well, you might have great containers or good ideas about what you're going to do. If you're not thinking about organization as a system, and when I say a system, I mean taking into account all the parts, right? So containerization means putting things into boxes or bins or drawers or totes, putting them in a closet or in the garage or under the bed or wherever, and kind of forgetting that they're there, right? Organization is, how do I put things away that I'm going to be using together, and how do I remember where they are? So it's a physical task and it's a mental task as well. So our goal in this challenge is to go through the mental task as well as the physical task and kind of teach you some new ways to think about getting organized. So I want you to think about organization of your crafting supplies the same way you think about organizing your silverware drawer, right? That sounds totally crazy, right? But if you think about the silver drawer, it is a perfect example of organization, right? You've kept everything together that you use together. So when you're ready to set the table, you just go to that one place, you get everything you need, you put it out on the table. It's easy to set the table, right? After dinner and the dishes get washed, if they're in the drainer in the sink or in the basket in the dishwasher, either way, it's easy to put those things back where they belong, right? It's very simple. Easy to use, easy to put back, right? Is that the case with your scrapbook supplies, right? Probably not, because if it's easy, you wouldn't be frustrated and feel like you're unorganized, right? So we're going to think about that same thing. What if you took your silverware and you spread it around the way you spread around your craft supplies? So if you took all of your forks and you put them in these really cute little boxes, and you put those little boxes into another box and you put that on a shelf. And then you took all of your spoons and you arranged them in ball canning jars all around the shelf level 7 feet above your head around the room. What if you took your steak knives and you hung them decoratively on the wall, right? When it was time to set the table, it would be a big pain in the neck. And it would be an even bigger pain in the neck to put everything away. And what would happen is when it was time to put everything away, you would just scoop it all up. All that silver would be on a pile on the counter, right? Just like the pile at the edge of your workspace when you're done crafting, because it's a pain in the neck to put those things away. So our goal here is to think systematically, keeping things together we would use together, so it's easy to take them out, it's easy to use them, and then it's easy to put them away, just like your silverware drawer. All right. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with your craft supplies by using what we call the 4-section system. And the 4-section system works with your brain. So let me take a little side note here and talk about how your brain works. Your brain works and remembers things by building patterns, right? The more you do something, the stronger the pattern, the easier that thing becomes, right? So things that you do all the time, you can do without even thinking. Brushing your teeth, putting your shoes on, whatever. You don't have to think about those things. Those patterns are so strong. Well, with organizing our craft supplies, we want to use patterns that already exist. And that's where the 4-section system comes from, right? Alphabets and numbers, themes A to Z, the calendar year, and the rainbow. So I'm going to take a little side step here also and talk about the live stream page. And there are some links on the page at the top of the page. So if you haven't downloaded your workbook, There's a little workbook like this that kind of follows along through the class. So it gives you some point of reference and some checklists. So at the top of the live stream page, there's a download for that. We'll also put a link there as well as on our website to the 4-section system article. So all of it will be there for you as well. But you can follow along with your handout. Okay, so those 4 sections are the perfect way to organize all of your craft supplies and keep things together that you're going to use together. So I'm going to demonstrate the 4-section system in a scrap rack. Now, you can use any tool you want to use the 4-section system, right? With the scrap rack, there's some huge advantages. It's visible, it's accessible, it's portable, it's expandable, all those things that we need when we're crafting. It really was designed around paper crafting, card making, scrapbooking, and the way that we do that, whether we're at home or away. But you can use any kind of tool. It's the system that's going to get you organized, organized the way you want to be. So this is the scrap rack itself. It's a metal base. It has a commercial grade of Velcro on the front. It's got steel wings on the side. And this first section is alphanumeric. So it's anything that's a letter, number, or punctuation mark, but not theme specific. So it doesn't matter what it is. If it has to do with tags, titles, journaling, anything like that, I've got everything grouped together in one place that's alphanumeric. Doesn't matter if it's a sticker, a die cut, a punch out, chipboard, acrylic stamp, stencil, any of those things, they're all going to fit in that section. Now, one of the questions I get asked regularly about the alphabet section is, should you store your alphabets by color? And I'm going to say no. I know that goes against sort of what we all think would be the right way to do it. But if you think about when you're creating something and you're going to write a word on it, whether it's a card, a scrapbook page, a frame, a mixed media project, it doesn't matter what it is, you have a finite amount of space to put that word in, right? So if you're trying to spell the word 4th of July on a card, you know that you have to use 1/2-inch letters to get that full word in there, right? So then what's important is, do you have those letters in a multitude of colors? So if I was trying to spell, let's say Happy Easter, because I have more Eastery colors here than 4th of July, and I was going to spell that all in pink. And when I got to the pink, if I had my things done by color, and I got to the pink stickers, I'd be like, oh, there's not enough letters in there to spell Happy Easter, which always happens, right? So what other colors could I use? And then I'd have to flip around to find green or find yellow or find purple or whatever it is, and see if I had the coordinating letters to go with that. But when you keep everything together by size, now you can see that you have the same font in all 3 of these colors. They're the same size. You know that you have all the letters that you want to work with. So people get a little freaked out about not putting their alphabets together by color, but think about how you use it, which is going to be your key all the way through. How do I use this? And when you're doing something with alphabets, you're working in a finite amount of space, so having them grouped together by size, where you know you can go right to that 3/4-inch letter, boom, and then you can see all the choices that you're going to work with that. So that's your first section, alphanumeric. Anything that's a letter, number, or punctuation mark, but not theme specific, is going to be in that first section, okay? Your second section is what we call themes A to Z. So now this little sample that I'm working with isn't really very loaded up. It's just kind of to give you the gist of the whole thing. So themes A to Z. These are all the things that you scrapbook about or make cards about. It's actually called themes and sentiments, A to Z. So it could be animals, baby, camping, sports, get well, retirement, bon voyage, you know, any one of those things, and they're all just grouped together alphabetically. So now when you're ready to work on beach pages or birthday cards or your son's football page or a trip that you took, everything that you need or everything that you have that might possibly work for that theme or event is all right there in front of you and at your fingertips. Now, you can divide out these categories if you need to, or subdivide the categories out. So because the idea is to keep things together that you use together. So let's use sports as an example. If you have, if your family's interested in basketball and football and baseball and soccer, you don't want to put that under F for football, B for baseball, S for soccer, because there are things on any one of those products that might work across the board. So a trophy, cleats, banners that say "Go Team," word number 1, "We love our coach," any of those things might be on any one of those sports kits or sports products. And you don't want to miss that on a soccer page just because that trophy was on a football sticker, right? So keep all those things together in one area, and it's really going to serve you well later when we talk about going to a crop as well, because everything's together and ready to go. So second section, themes A to Z, everything that you craft about, organized alphabetically. Third section is the calendar year, and the calendar year is where you're going to put everything holiday and seasons together just through the calendar year. So winter, spring, summer, fall. But the goal is, if you're working on Halloween pages or fall pages or Christmas pages, you can go right to that section and you can see all the different things that are going to work for you for that particular theme or for that particular holiday or calendar event, all in one place. Now, this makes it really easy when you buy new things, because you know exactly where to put them when you get home, or when you finish a project. You no longer have to have that pile at the end of your desk, because you just take those leftovers. Oh, this is from the Christmas section, pop it in Christmas, or this is from sports and it goes in the sports section. So it's really easy to put things away when you're done with a project as well. It makes things so simple. You're going to love it. Okay, the final section is the rainbow. And the rainbow is the section that freaks people out, right? We have this little saying on the Facebook group, don't fear the rainbow, right? So if you think about all the things that you've got, flowers and buttons and beads and brads and micro beads and glitter and embossing powder and all this stuff that you have containerized all over your room, when you need something, you have to ask your brain 2 questions. First question, do I have it? And if your brain says, yes, you do, then you have to ask the dreaded second question, where is it? Well, if your brain comes back with, aisle 2 at Michael's will be way faster than finding it in your room, you know you've got a problem, right? But if you put all your rainbow things together, your flowers and your beads and your buttons and your brads and your eyelets all together, and you need a red brad, all you have to do is go to your red section, right? So I have 2 little sections of rainbow here, actually. Thank you, Karen, for putting those together for me this morning. So let me pop those in there. So now, if I need something red, I can just go to the rainbow section, and I've got all my red things right there. So it doesn't matter, these are reds and pinks, but I've got buttons and bling and flower and glitter, all those goodies, and they're visible and they're accessible, and I know that I've got them. So if I need a red brad and I go to my red section and there are no red brads, then I know I have license to go to Michael's and buy more red brads, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. You can see we've got little bags of glitter here, big flowers, small flowers, lots of bling, ribbon, fiber, doesn't matter. It's all together in one place. There's some other big benefits to using the rainbow section, right? So obviously the first benefit is that you're going to be able to find things quickly and easily, right? You're not going to be buying as many duplicates because you can see what you've got and you can find what you've got. This other thing happens in our brains is that we tend to use what we've learned most recently. So if you go to a class and you learn how to use a particular product or particular style of scrapbooking or card making, that's at the front of your brain. And the products that you bought that went along with that class are now at the front of your workspace, right? So front of the brain, front of your eyes, that's the thing that you're going to use all the time. So I want to tell you a little story about that, and you can check it out for yourselves. I'm assuming most of you have been paper crafting for a long time. So after several years of paper crafting, my sister and I got together with our albums, a series of albums, and a bottle of wine, which is kind of a theme for us, I guess. And we started looking through our albums. And so the first part of the albums, we only did creative memories, so they were all that style creative memories. And then we felt like we were cheating on our creative memories rep, and we went out and took a class at the local scrapbook store. The class was called Border Basics and Beyond. And so then all of the pages were borders, 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 borders. Then we took a class in how to make paper dolls. And then so all of our pages, paper dolls, paper dolls, paper dolls. And then we took this pop-up pages class. So everything had pop-ups on it. And then it was eyelets, and then it was ribbon, and then it was tattered angels. Whatever we had most recently learned was at the front of our brain, was at the front of our workspace, was the thing that we were constantly putting on our pages. So our albums sort of documented our learning curve as scrapbookers and paper crafters with everything, all the classes that we'd taken, which is fine, and it's kind of cool to sort of see that transition. But we weren't making the most of the other products that we owned or the other education that we had spent our money on, right? We weren't tying all those things together. We weren't mixing them up. We weren't using all that stuff. The rainbow helps you to use all that knowledge as well, because well, you might be thinking, I'm going to put a button on this page. When you go to your blue section and you see not only that do you have buttons, but you have bling, and that they're all going to tie together with the flowers here, or the bottle caps that you've got, or the tiles that you learned how to mosaic on a page. Now you're going to be using not only more of your products, but you're going to be using more of the knowledge that you've got in your head as well. So rainbow section is going to be where you put anything that doesn't fit a theme or category. The first sections based on color, and it can be anything, right? Anything that you're going to use, you're going to pop into that section, right? So section 1, alphanumeric. Section 2, themes A to Z, themes and sentiments A to Z. Section 3, the calendar year, and section 4 is the rainbow. I'll move this out of the way a little bit here. All right, so now you understand the 4-section system. On our website, there's a whole video just about the 4-section system, and there's a downloadable printable article about the 4-section system, which can be really helpful when you're sorting and organizing late at night. If you have some questions, if you have it printed out, you can always look at it online as well. Okay, so what do? How do you get started? How do you move into a 4-section system? Well, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to write a themes and sentiments list, right? So I'll put a link up to this themes list on the live stream page and on our page on our website as well. After the session today, you'll get an email that has all the links that I talked about, and it has the checklist of things you're supposed to do this week and all of those things. So you'll get an email that's got a reminder and all those links in it as well. So, but this is just a sample list. It has a bunch of different things on it. Now remember, this is going to be different for everybody. This is a good jumping off point if you're not sure where to start with your themes and sentiments list. This will be a good sort of reference for you. Now, on that Get Organized Challenge page on Facebook, lots of gals, and there may be a few guys too, have posted their themes and sentiments list. So if you're somebody who likes to do a lot of research and see what other people are doing, you can go to the Facebook page and you can see those themes and sentiments lists posted there as well. Okay, so you're going to make your themes and sentiments list. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to bring everything together that you can. So go out to your car, go to the closets, anywhere you have craft supplies stashed around the house. I got to share another little funny story with you. I was at a scrapbook show recently in Milwaukee, and there was a woman there with a t-shirt on that said, my greatest fear is that when I die, my husband will sell my craft supplies for what I told him they cost. So super cute. All right. So get all those things out, all those things you've been stashing and hiding around from your husband, and bring them all together so that when you're ready to start organizing, they're all in one place. All right. Step 4, another step in the mental process. This process is called prepare to purge. Da-na-na. Purging is really, really important. It's really important, and it feels really good once you get used to doing it. And I know for some people it's harder than for other people. But one of the things that causes you to be frustrated and overwhelmed with getting and staying organized is that you have stuff that you're never going to use, right? It's stuff that you purchased or that was given to you or that you had good intentions for, and it's just never going to happen, right? If you have stuff that you bought 10 years ago, as you're flipping through it or seeing it in your craft supplies, you're probably even thinking to yourself, boy, that's ugly. Whatever motivated me to buy that, right? Well, you got to get that stuff out of there, because all it's doing is causing you frustration and overwhelm. It's taking up space, and it's totally unuseful. There's a little podcast on our website, and I don't know if it's a free download, but Karen, since you're listening, if you can go on the website and make the Purge podcast free this week, then anybody who needs help or motivation, it's just me talking for 20 minutes about strategies for helping you purge, right? But it is a really important part. So one of the things that comes with purging is setting yourself up again for success. So this is my purge box. It's just one of our paper storage boxes, and the reason I use this is because it's small and narrow, but it's still 12 by 12, right? So I just have it down here at my feet, and anytime I come across something in my scrap rack, which mine's a little bit more sizable than this little guy right here, that I'm not going to use. Maybe my kids have outgrown something, or maybe I bought ballet stuff to do a ballet page for the little girl who lived across the street, and I've done the page, but I never got rid of the extra pieces for that. So as I come across those things, I can just chuck them out of my thing. And there's a lot of things you can do with your purge. You can bag it up and sell it on eBay by the pound. You can take it to your local scrapbook store for garage sale. I had one gal, I wish I knew her name, I should have made a note of it. And she emailed me and she told me what she did was she grouped all those things together by theme. So if she had done cruise pages and now she was done with cruise pages, she put all her extra cruise stuff in a big Ziploc bag and labeled it cruise. And then when she was at a crop or an event or heard a friend was talking about, you know, crafting that particular theme, she would be able to pull that out and go, hey, I have this bag of cruise goodies. And then she could share it and feel good about who she was giving it to. So there's lots of places that will take your donations. There's all kinds of things like that available. You are not allowed, ladies, to get on the Facebook page and say, I have purge, who wants it? And have somebody else who's trying to get organized. You're not allowed to take that purge, ladies. You're not allowed. There's very few rules when you're working with me, but that's one of them. There is no miscellaneous, so you can't have a category in themes A to Z labeled M miscellaneous. That doesn't exist. Organization is over here and miscellaneous is over here. They're two totally opposite end concepts, so no miscellaneous either, right? Everything has a place. All right, so mentally get prepared to purge. If you need a little help, then listen to the podcast, and you should be able to go to our website. Again, we'll put up a link to it and download it into your shopping basket for free, and it will just send you a link to it, and then you can listen to the Purge Cast. The Purge Cast, if you need a little help and motivation with that. The next thing you need to think about this week is your storage tools. What kind of storage tools are you going to use? Are you going to use a scrap rack? Do you already have a scrap rack? Are you going to use boxes or bins or drawers or totes or Ziploc bags or file folders? Whatever it is, you need to have those things all ready to go. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about creating an organized only space and setting those things aside. But you need to get those things ready either physically or at least know what they're going to be, right? The beautiful thing about the 4-section system is you can move into it in almost any kind of tool, and then you can figure out how it's going to work best for you. So your storage tools are going to be the next thing that you're going to decide, and all this is going to come out in your checklist. So your goals for this week. The very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to decide what your big benefit is, and then you're going to create your big benefits board, right? Something to motivate you. And again, I have seen this done fancy. I have seen it done on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I've seen it done on a whiteboard. It doesn't matter. You can do it however you want. Make it as simple or complicated. Just get it done. Set your goal. Make your big benefits board. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to read the 4-section system article and or watch the 4-section system video that's on the website so you can really get your brain around how that works. You're going to create your themes index. Right, so we'll give you one on the link to it on the email this afternoon. You're going to gather your supplies together into one place. You're going to set your purge goals, which I talked about purge, but I didn't talk about the goal part of it, right? We all have a certain amount of stuff that we're never going to use, and that's a different number for everybody. But you need to set some type of goal with your purge as well. So you might say, I'm going to purge 1 pound for every year I've been scrapbooking. I'm going to purge 1 inch of stuff for every year that I've been scrapbooking. You might say, I'm going to purge anything that's over X number of months or X number of years old. I'm going to purge anything that, you know, isn't relevant to what's happening in my life right now. There's all kinds of ways to set that goal, but set your purge goal and then write it on the front of your purge box as a constant reminder of what you're doing. Now, my purge box doesn't have the little goal on it because I'm not doing a major purge. But I try to purge anything that I don't have a use for, right? Like I know there's nothing coming up for ballet. Let me backtrack a little bit into things like that, like themes and sentiments and getting rid of things that you may or may not believe you need. So when you are working on something specific, let's say SeaWorld, a great example, right? I have 2 boys, London 17, Max 16, and I took them to SeaWorld when they were little guys. I bought all the SeaWorld stuff to do the SeaWorld pages. It's all specifically SeaWorld stuff. When I was finished with the SeaWorld pages, I had all the SeaWorld stuff left over, right? So it's tempting to keep that SeaWorld stuff because there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're done with the pages, unless you go to SeaWorld all the time, but if you're like me, I won't go back to SeaWorld again until my kids have kids, and since they're 16 and 17, hopefully that'll be at least 10 years from now, right? And when I do go back with those grandchildren, I'm gonna want new stuff. I'm gonna want the coolest new SeaWorld scrapbooking, card making, paper crafting stuff that's out there. I'm not gonna wanna use the same old stuff from before. It's gonna look dated. The colors are gonna be wrong, right? You know this. So anything that you work on like that, when you're finished with the project, bag it up, put it in your purge thing, give it away, whatever you need to do. But you need to think about, if you keep that SeaWorld stuff, right, you're just going to have to be sorting, storing, organizing, moving it around. It's taking up space. It's causing that frustration and overwhelm, right? So you can do give it away, sell it, whatever you want to do. But try to discipline yourself that when there's something special and something unique like that you're not going to use anymore, that you're going to get rid of it when you're done with the project. This is the same thing for travel stuff that's destination specific, okay? Merle, I don't know if she's on with us today or not. Merle goes to Mexico every year. So in Merle's travel section, she's got Mexico stuff, and she will always have it. They go every year, right? But if you're going somewhere, let's say you're going to Prague on a life dream vacation for 2 weeks. It's the only time you're probably ever going to go to Prague. When you get back from that trip and you're done scrapping, you can get rid of all that Prague-specific stuff. Because even if you do get to go back to Prague another time, it's going to be the same situation where you're going to want to buy new, different stuff for your new trip. So try not to hang on to stuff that way, things that you're not going to use. The other thing that I'm going to caution you about as we go through this, and we'll talk more about it next week, is scraps, right? So I used to say, it used to be my mantra, choose a minimum scrap size, a size that you'll actually use. And when you finish a project, everything that's in that pile at the end of your desk that doesn't meet that minimum size goes in your purge box or recycler or wherever. And then you store your scraps right in with everything else. So if you had Christmas scraps or sports scraps or whatever, they would be right in whatever section they belonged in. But as I've traveled around and helped people get organized and taught this class online and in person all over the country, I have discovered that many of you, raise your hands, are paper junkies. You have so much paper that even if you got to craft a little bit every day, you would never use up your paper, right? And yet you're saving your little 1x1 scraps. Well, quit doing that. Pick a huge minimum scrap size. I would say 6x12 ideally. If you can't do that, then just go to 6x6 to get started. But you really want to use that paper, right? That beautiful, amazing paper that you've been collecting that you're not using because you're busy digging through your scrap box or whatever. So keep that in mind also, that you're going to be needing to purge out those scraps. Now, we did have a suggestion, and this will come up in another video, that if you throw the scraps into a little box or something, as we go through stamps and punches and dies and those kind of things and organizing those scraps of paper might become useful. So you might want to set some of those aside to use for that task as well. But if you can get rid of your scraps, that's going to be key. But if not, they're going to go right in with everything else. Okay. So you're going to create your themes index. You're going to bring your supplies together. You're going to create your purge goals. You're going to evaluate your workspace, right? Where are you going to store your things? If possible, visible, accessible are going to be really important parts of that, right? The easier it is to get to. So if I was going to make a birthday card, because my things are so easy to get to, I could just flip back here to the birthday section, grab a card blank, go to my birthday things, and have everything ready to go right out in front of me. And so in just a few minutes, I could make that birthday card really quickly, right? So then I'm going to use it. So however you're going to arrange your supplies, visible and accessible need to be really important, and then you'll use more of what you've got. All right, so next thing you're going to do, if you're a Facebook person, is join the 2011 Get Organized Challenge. Again, we'll send you a link out to that as well. Even if you're not a Facebook person, you don't normally do Facebook, you could be a lurker. You could sign up for a Facebook account and just lurk around in the group. And it's a great resource for ideas and inspiration. You don't have to post anything, but you can see everybody's pictures. People post before and afters, which are always motivating for us. So all those goodies are there on the Facebook page. And then finally, you're going to go public. You're going to share your goals, and you're going to try to tell as many people as you can or recruit a friend so that you have some other people holding you accountable and hopefully moving you forward through the challenge, right? So that's it for this week. You have your assignment. You'll get an email later in the day with the assignment mapped out on it. If you haven't downloaded your workbook, go ahead and download your workbook. Don't forget to do a progress post as you move through this week's progress. And again, you can do that either on Facebook or you can email us with a progress post as well. And that'll get you into the prize drawing for next week. Everybody loves a prize. So thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to talking with you again next week. And I'm really looking forward to reading your posts on Facebook and seeing your emails. So have a great and productive week. And I'll talk to you next week.